Beetlejuice is the latest from Tim Burton and the sequel to the classic that came out 36 years ago. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter Astrid accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. At the same time, Beetlejuice is being hunted down by his ex-wife who's sucking the souls of the dead.
Are you doing this?
Beetlejuice.
So yeah, another legacy sequel, and if you saw my previous video on Beetlejuice, you'll know I was worried about how this one would turn out. The way things often go with this sort of film is that the spark that made the original such a timeless classic can get snuffed out by the returning project with misguided direction, overuse of nostalgia, or simply the way it's shot. Beetlejuice manages to have both a good chunk of the charm, fun, and silliness that made the original decent, but falls foul of trying to stuff too many plot lines into the narrative. It does take a small trip down Memberberry Lane, but it's certainly not laying it on thick and actually presents some originality. My immediate thought when leaving the cinema was that so much of this film could have done without certain plot lines. There are at least 5 intertwining things happening in the film. The first 40 or so minutes sets up these different strands. You've got Lydia's TV show that only appears at the beginning and doesn't tie in to the rest of the film. Lydia's boyfriend, who takes up a great deal of screen time. Beetlejuice's ex-wife Dolores, who is largely set up as the big bad of this film, kind of gets a bit forgotten about halfway through. You've got Willem Dafoe's detective Wolf Jackson chasing the trails of Dolores and Astrid's newfound relationship with a boy in the town of Winter River. Oh, and Astrid is trying to find her father in the afterlife. All the while, Lydia is being haunted by Beetlejuice and trying to find connection with her true self in the squall of all this. And that's about 8 plot lines that I ended up counting on my fingers. Lastly, the most egregious waste of time in this is that Charles Dietz is still in this a lot, even though his character is killed off. Jeffrey Jones isn't in the movie for a really good reason that a quick Google will answer for you. So I'm perplexed as to why A, his face is in a lot of this, and B, his character is still prominent. His inclusion added nothing and could have easily and rightly been sidelined. It's honestly a bit of a mess in the plot department. The first was so direct and simple to follow. I get that sequels demand bigger and better, but in doing so here, Burton has made this pretty complex and convoluted. But it is fun, colourful and very well shot. It clips along and delivers great visuals that expand on the afterlife and the world around the Dietzes, so it doesn't feel like we're treading old ground for the sake of nostalgia. Just like the first, it is packed with originality and genuinely funny ideas that build on rather than borrowing from the first outing. The Netherworld is expanded upon from the waiting room and the rows of desks to the greatly named Soul Train that suitably has a great little song and dance routine attached to it. Quirky ideas like an animated scene for Charles's fatal plane crash, the superb entry scene for Dolores, the incredible Beetlejuice and Dolores backstory inspired by Italian black and white Fellini films.
Ero un umile ladro di tombe. Esercitavo il mio mestiere tra I cadaveri degli abbandonati.
These wonderful moments of creativity put a smile on my face. I really fell in love with the big song and dance routine in the church to MacArthur Park by Richard Harris. Yes, that Richard Harris. I've never heard this song before and it's 100% being added to some of my playlists. A quick note on the visuals, top marks from me for doing a ton of practical effects. Sure, the CGI is there, but it's used sparingly to support the excellent work captured in the camera. My only negative on the look of the film is its cleaner aesthetic compared to the first. This doesn't feel as dirty or lived in. Beetlejuice plays to the strength of the first film by being sparing with the titular character's involvement. Michael Keaton once again dazzles when he comes into play as Beetlejuice. Certainly not as wild and erratic as his younger self was in 1988, but for 70 odd years old, wow, he seems to slide right back into playing this character like a well-worn glove. His character's presence sprinkles magic into this story, so much so that I wouldn't blame anyone for forgiving the film's shortcomings and leaving this believing they had a great time.
Bob, you and the boys stand guard. Nobody gets through.
I was, however, disappointed in how Catherine O'Hara's Delia Dietz turned out. The sharpness of her character just wasn't there anymore, and I get it, people age and change, but I had hoped for something more here. The way Lydia is dealt with is a touch clunky to me. She felt more like Winona Ryder's character in Stranger Things, an uncertain, worrying mother, rather than the confident character we got at the end of the last movie. And again, sure, people change, but the storyline with the weird controlling boyfriend didn't really engage me. This This is the first time I've seen Jenna Ortega in anything, so I've no past experience of her acting to go on here, but I really enjoyed what she brought to this. I wish, out of all the storylines, hers, where she meets a boy, travels to the netherworld and tries to find her dad, was built on more. But look, honestly, I had little to no anticipation for Beetlejuice. It seemed to me like another capitalising cash grab, and with Burton's more recent track record not being great cinematically, I thought I was walking into a dud. I'm pleased to say that this surprised me a bit and surpassed my really low expectations. It's not brilliant, but I never thought the original was that brilliant either. This is a good time with occasionally clunky parts that some of you will forgive and others may not.
Don't be afraid.
You're a figment of my imagination.
Really? Is this a figment of your imagination?
And that's it for Beetlejuice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and say hello in the comments, or try one of these videos next. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.